Well, we're back in Greece, back in Santorini. I painted the sky, and now I'm working on the water. And I've got the upper portion, or the most distant portion of the water, pretty well complete. And for it, I just used my sky colors, bringing in my oranges, and these are my purples from the clouds. I got it a little bit dark at first, so I've gone back and lightened it up a little bit, because as the water goes back, the color gets lighter. And then it'll get darker as we come forward. So I'm just lightening up some of these purples just a little bit. Now I want my reflections of my islands to be still dark, but I bring some of my color across them to give the feeling of movement in the water. Because the edges of those just aren't totally defined. The water, the ripples in the water catch the light, and so the reflections are, the edges are rippled. Okay, now as we come down, again, I've got some of my oranges in here, and these are just my mixtures from the sky I have remaining. The brightest colors are going to be in the water directly below the sun, and you can see I've even penciled in a line here to just help guide me as I put those in. But as we start coming down, we start picking some of the blues in the upper sky up into the water. So this is a mixture. I'm going to start with a mixture of my ultramarine blue plus white. And I need to make a little bit darker version of that. Let me do that real quick. Should have put some white out here before I got started. A lot of people use titanium white. Winton makes a really nice white that I like. It's called a soft mixing white, and it's buttery. It's really nice to mix with. It's not as stiff as the titanium white, and so it's much easier to mix colors. And so that's what I use, is that soft mixing white, and I think that's number 77 if you're ordering. Let's see on here. It's usually on the box. I guess it's not on the paint tube. It's usually on the box. So, but anyway, just look for the Winton made by Winsor Newton and the soft mixing white, and that's really just a nice, real buttery white. So here I'm mixing. This is a little bit darker version of the ultramarine blue plus white. I'm going to work around my rocks. And then I'm going to start bringing, also just bring a few little purples in. And again, that water moves, and so as it moves, it catches the light from the sky above. So it's going, the reflections are going to be, you're going to get that color rippling throughout. We start bringing the blues in. Now in here we're going to have the reflections from these rocks coming down, but I paint them into my wet paint of the water. As we start coming forward, the water gets more intense in color. And so I start using a few mixtures of my phthalo blue plus white. And I'm exaggerating it a little bit. Usually this time of day you're not going to get the colors maybe quite as intense, but because this is a painting and this is our world, we can make it the way we want it to be. I'm going to make that color just a little more intense. I'm going to have a geranium here, which with these blues, and I've got a turquoise blue here, that's really going to make that pop. I'm just getting color on my canvas at this point. I'll come back and refine it more. The gate's going to be a cobalt blue gate. So the light will be hitting it, so I want this water in here darker. Because that gate's going to be a lighter. And just bring some of my blues in here. ultramarine blue, excuse me. They're all blues, aren't they? Now again, some of these oranges from the sky are going to, because the color up here is not just a straight, strict transition, so these colors are going to come rippling through. You can bring some of those blues back. You don't want just bands of color. You need to, the colors kind of interdigitate. They do like this. As we come forward, we're going to bring more. This is another special color I use. Now this is called, this Rembrandt makes this color. And this is called turquoise phthalo blue. Let's see if I've got it here, yes. This is a Rembrandt color, phthalo turquoise blue. And I use some special colors on my palette from time to time. There's some intense colors that we just can't really mix with our double primary palette. So these are, this phthalo turquoise blue is another one of those. And this water gets, as it comes up here and gets shallower, gets greener. I'm going to get a little bit lighter as we get down. Mix a little bit of that lighter. And this again is my phthalo turquoise blue plus white. And the intensity of the color brings that water forward. That helps give the feeling of depth in the painting. Again, I'm just getting this blocked in. Now I clean my brush out and I want to make my rocks here. And this is a mixture of my mud plus cadmium orange plus white. This makes just a real nice deep brown. I'm not very prepared this morning. Normally I'd get all my colors mixed up before I get started, but I just didn't do that today. So these, and I want these dark rocks to be darker than those in the background. A little darker, a little warmer. And these, where they're getting, I'm going to bring, see these rocks out here? I want these to come over a little bit more so they don't line up exactly. Boy, I am just not with it today. Need to get myself some liquid out. This is my liquid that I use, Liquid Original. It's also made by Winsor Newton. And this I mix in, I'm making a little bit of a mix with this with my mud, and you'll see how I use that. Let me just fix this, get this mixed up. I did not plan ahead very well this morning. Had some interruptions and it just kind of got me sidetracked. So here we go. This is my mud plus liquid. And I'm just using that to add a few more darks into my rocks here. And these dark rocks are going to accentuate the light hitting the facade of this church. It's one thing that I planned in this composition was that those darks here and here accentuate the form of my church. And I can just use the side of my brush to make the feeling of the rocks there. Now, one thing I want to do is I'm going to move this water over a little bit. I do want an opening here in my water, because the light's going to come through there. Again, we're coming straight down from the sun, so those reflections are going to come through there. But I have a little opening here. So that's going to be Now I'm going to make this other set of rocks. Again, I keep wiping my brushes because I want this color, the water in here, to be very intense, and so I need to keep my brush clean so that my colors stay nice and crisp and clean. Now let's make this other rock here. Again, I'm using that mud plus liquid mixture to make my dark little crevices and all in that rock. Now this rock lines up. No, it doesn't. Okay, yeah. Let's bring this over just a little bit more. There we go. Now, to make my reflections of these rocks, take a clean brush. I use a lot of tissue paper. And now I'm going to just pull some of that color straight down into my water. See how that gives the feeling of that reflecting down in. This one the same. Now, let's make our reflections of the sun. And they're going to get very bright because the sun is up a little higher, so we're going to start getting really bright in here. That sun hits that water. Those reflections come all the way just straight down. Now a little bit's going to go, okay, again, here's our center point coming down. So we want a little bit to go over here. So that water ripples, and so the reflections will go out from that center line. Just want to bring some real bright. And these reflections just dance on the water. Because when you're at the ocean, it's rarely, very rarely is the ocean very smooth. There's always going to be some dance of light on the water. And that's how that reflection comes down. Get back here, it's a little bit darker. And this light here really brings it forward. Now, along the base of these bluffs or rocks that are in the water, there's going to be just a little ripple of where the surf comes in and comes up against the rocks. So you get a little lighter edge here. I really appreciate you watching my YouTube videos. Please subscribe to my channel and always feel free to ask questions. You can make them in the comments section and I will answer you. Also, visit my blog where I show the complete step-by-step process of this painting as well as the others I do. Just go to the link below in the description, or the website address is also on the final frame of my video. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, and just today, give somebody a big smile. You just never know what's going on in their life, and that smile just may mean the world to them. So you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and happy painting.